Fall in. It's time for the Abington Veterans Muster. Welcome back. My name is Travis Parrington, Abington resident, U.S. Marine Corps veteran, and host of the Abington Veterans Muster. Thank you. We're going to start off the next couple of, passing the word events, because we're in formation now, we're passing the word, with an overview in more detail about the Chapter 115 benefits, and for the next couple of months, the Abington Saves Fund. A lot of people ask me, what's the true purpose of the Abington Veteran Services Officer, or VSO? Well, at their core, your VSO, in this case Adam Gunn, who's the Director of Abington Veteran Services, is to administer the Chapter 115 benefits as specified by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And this is for veterans who meet certain requirements, but still, this is a benefit for all veterans in the Commonwealth. In this case, Adam administers for the veterans here in Abington. What's that mean? That means if you are a veteran in need or dire straits from a crisis situation, you can go see Adam at the Abington Town Hall and meet the requirements, and there's assistance for you as a veteran, and not only for you, but also if you were a widow of a veteran, there is assistance for you as well. And why is this important? So many veterans live and exist and run into problems and think that they're alone, that there's no way they can get help. And a lot of us suffer in silence. And I'm here to tell you, because of what I've learned and how I'm becoming more and more educated with what the Commonwealth is doing, you don't have to suffer. You don't have to be alone. You can come into the town hall, explain the situation to Adam, and if you meet the requirements, start getting assistance for things like fuel, food, medical care, housing assistance. All these are part of the Chapter 115 benefits for Massachusetts veterans. And again, this benefit is for all veterans in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, but Adam administers those benefits for the town of Abington. And so for the next couple of passing the word sessions as we do the Abington Veterans Muster, I'm going to be talking about the Chapter 115 benefits in more and more detail. So all of you staying in formation, watching and listening to me right now can understand that this is for you. Please, please, please do not sit there and feel that you're alone, and that there's no help, and that there's nobody out there that will assist you or cares about you. This is part of what Adam does as Abington VSO and what we do on the Abington Veterans Services Council. So, Chapter 115, again, is for veterans that meet the requirements and widows of veterans who are in need. The second thing I'm going to be talking about and through September is the Abington Saves Fund. Adam Gunn got a grant through the COVID Relief Fund, and there is money set aside for veterans in need in Abington. And the great thing is maybe you are partaking of Chapter 115 benefits. The Abington Saves Fund can also augment that or enhance that if you need. You can go down to the Abington Town Hall and see Adam or the Abington Council on Aging, fill out the application, and get a determination right then and there about your need and award amount. There's no reason to go without. There's no reason to go hungry. There's no reason to suffer in silence. There are a lot of people in the town of Abington and at the Commonwealth level that truly care about our veterans. And as we go through and have more Abington Veterans Musters, we're going to talk more about these two very important benefits and how they help all of us in the community. So again, Chapter 115 is for you, the veteran, to take advantage of, or if you're a widow of a veteran, to get help with. And Adam is here for you. The Abington Saves Fund is through September, and you need to go down and apply today. Do not delay. Do not tarry, do not wait, do not put it off. Come see us and we will help you. I'm Travis, passing the word, and we're ready for our next guest. You're dismissed. Welcome back. I love this part of the Abington Veterans Muster. It's when I get to talk to people in and around Abington that either were veterans or are veterans, not were, but are veterans, or do something in the community to help veterans out. And I have a special guest, because that's right, I don't have just one guest, I have two. So I just can't contain my excitement as I'm getting ready to introduce my next two guests. So please, welcome to the Abington Veterans Muster, Officer Morgan and Officer Harlow, the amazing duo here on the Abington Veterans Muster. Officer Harlow, Officer Morgan, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
And we have something in common, Officer Morgan, don't we?
We do. We're related.
We are. You're my sister from another mister, and I'm your brother from another mother, and we have the same birthday. November 10th. Right?
Yes, yes.
Right. We're both Marines. How about that?
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Oh, and there he is. So we both served in the Marine Corps, and we're both not from Abington. Surprise, surprise. So you've done a whole lot since you got out of the Marine Corps, but tell the people out there what you did in the Marine Corps and then how you got to Abington.
Oh man, it's been a long time from then. So I joined the Marine Corps back in 2005, and I am from Los Angeles, California, and I tried to get away from that. It was literally what you saw on TV: gangs, drugs, violence, everything. And so I joined the Marines, and because of the war in Iraq, I got sent back to California after MOS school. After boot camp, MOS school was also in California, so it was kind of a magnet calling me back. And it was a great time. I loved the Marine Corps my 4 years, and spent a year in Iraq, and then after I got out of the Marines, I decided to stay there with my husband. And after a few years, we both were kind of fed up with California. It was just, it wasn't for us. And we decided to move to Massachusetts.
Just pick up and move to Massachusetts.
Pretty much. I told him I was done with California and I was not happy there anymore. And I was like, we're moving to your state and we're going to, make it work. So,
Officer Morgan, I got to ask. Did you ever see snow in your life before you moved to Massachusetts?
I went to Big Bear and went, snowboarding.
Okay, so when the February hit, you were used to this.
Yeah, not as long of a duration. That would be just a weekend Big Bear, and that would be it. So.
Okay, so snow, the Red Sox, Worcester. I got that one wrong. That was
I get it wrong all the time still.
Right. It's like, what are you doing? It's Worcester. I'm like, it's pronounced Worcester. Worcester. You make the transition out of the Marine Corps into a different part of the country. And for both of us, there's some changes moving to this part of the country. How did you start getting in part of the community and feeling like you were making your home here?
So, my, at the time, husband and I decided to separate, and we were good friends and whatnot. But I decided to move to Boston. He was from Carver, and I started going to these veteran events, and it led to meeting a couple friends here, meeting new people there, and eventually I started to volunteer for this program or a nonprofit called Irreverent Warriors.
I know, that's how we met.
Yes, and I volunteered with my time there, and people started moving away from their positions, and the position of coordinator opened up, and I said, why not kind of jump all in? And I helped coordinate one of the Boston hikes. It was over 300 veterans hiking through Boston for that one day, and it was just a great time. Ever since then, it's kind of been always volunteering for, veterans events and just being out there.
So you're doing all this. You're, like me, getting acclimated to New England. I didn't understand the fervor for being a part of Red Sox Nation or, Dunkin' Donuts. I didn't understand it, but I'm getting used to it. You're getting integrated. What led you to pursue law enforcement?
Well, it was all my father's idea. So growing up, I was his favorite, and I would go with him and hang out and whatnot. And one day, this is kind of a two-part story, but one day we were in downtown LA, and he saw a Marine, and he said, recruiter, and he said, if you're going to join any branch, it's going to be the Marine Corps because
Well,
they're
at
the
least he
best.
got you on the right path.
I know, right? So my dad wasn't that great with the law, let's say.
Okay.
He was an alcoholic, and he knew the officers because they would either bring him home or they would come to our house and be like, "Your dad needs to go, somebody needs to go get your dad." And so that's how I kind of got involved with law enforcement back then as a kid, because they took care of me. They steered me in the right direction, kept me away from guns or gangs and drugs and all that, bad stuff.
Okay.
And because of them, I wanted to be a cop. They helped me.
So you go through Marine Corps boot camp, which you and I both know is the toughest boot camp in the world and the best.
Yes.
What was it like going through, officer candidate school for being a police officer?
So because I was not a young kid like all the other kids in the police academy, I was quite broken. I would tell them I was like I was the oldest female, and I would tell the girls like just as long as you're ahead of me running, they're not gonna bother you. They're gonna come after me, and I hoped I helped the girls. And it was more physical for me, obviously, because I'm older in age, been through a lot already, and mentally it was not that bad. School wise was a different story.
There's a lot to learn.
It was a
isn't it?
lot to learn, a lot, yeah.
So you go through that, and it was out in Tewksbury, right, when they graduated?
No, we ran my graduation.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't even remember now. It's been only
I
2
think I
years.
was there with another officer from Marshfield, and as I recall, Adam went out there to see you graduate, correct?
I can't recall, sir.
Okay, no, don't call me sir. I got as a Lance Corporal. Don't worry about it. Okay, we will kind of just strike all that. Anyway, you graduate from school, and you become an Abington police officer. And I remember seeing you for the first time. I'm like, wait a minute. The last time when we talked, we were in costume having a good time bowling, and now she's like, the law, laying the law down.
Yeah.
But the coolest thing was, I'm watching you, and I'm picking up my son from school, and it's not only you, officer, but it's also the dog.
Yes.
And you said, this is Officer Harlow. Now, how did Officer Harlow, yes sir, and you get connected? Because it's like you all are a duo, a team now.
So the position opened up immediately after I got off FTO. Harlo, venid. Pa abajo. And I put my name in because I have 2 kids in the schools, and I was like, okay, I'm working a ton of hours, which I love, but then I also love, my dream of being a cop was to be the school resource officer or K-9, and it opened up as both. So I put my name in, and I thankfully got it. And
I'll never forget my youngest, he's not my littlest, but he's my youngest, said, Dad, they've got this, cop up there, and she has this dog with her, and she looks really scary. I'm like, well, I'm telling you right now, you don't want to mess with her, so I better not hear of any problems. But it was amazing to hear, like him and his buddies talking about you roaming the halls of school with Officer Harlow, and they really responded to that. And you're this big ass Marine, but you're able to serve in this way too, which kind of leads to my next thing is you're still able to serve and protect your community like you did in the Marine Corps. Kind of tell us what that's like to you to walk, the school and see all these young people who look up to you, especially the girls.
so I might get emotional over this.
That's okay.
I always see it as these 4 schools as all my kids.
They're all
because
yours.
They're all my kids because I will die for them if I need to. Just like I would die for you, you're my battle buddy. And it's when I say I'll die for them because, I want to protect them, they're the future. But I'll also live for my kids, and I'll make sure that I go home every day for them.
Yeah.
The girls, it's and this the comment you said of your child's them scary Marine or walking the halls. I see the girls, and I talk to them as much as I can, and I was like, I know I look scary, but I'm not. You want me on your side.
She's really scary.
You want me as I'm crying right here.
She's really scary.
Yeah, and I was like, whatever you need, I'll be there. It doesn't matter what time it is. You can call the station and be like, hey, is Officer Morgan there? I just don't work, 7 to 3. I work different hours as well. So I love being able to interact with the girls and give them that, positive role model.
Well, so in the interest of full disclosure, two of the Marines I served with, Officer Palatino and Officer Harrington, I both served with them. They were like sisters. They were annoying and all that good stuff, but they got out and got into law enforcement in Houston and the Port Authority Police, and they kind of echoed the same sentiment, like being able to not only serve but be this example to other women was a really different aspect of a job versus working in like a conventional 9 to 5. So it was really interesting in that way. How does Officer Harlow like assist? Like he's really cool right now, but he's working too, right?
Yes. So Harlow is a comfort and therapy dog. So he got certified as a therapist or therapy dog. And that saying of I look scary, kids kind of are hesitant to see me because I just have that stone cold face. I don't know. I just, I'll leave it on the G version saying of that. But with Harlow, it's like, oh, they instantly come to you and talk to you and want to see, like, can we pet Harlow? And
So he kind of is a bridge
it,
between you and the kids.
yes, yes. Well, the kids that don't know me,
The kids that don't know you.
I volunteered for the Philadelphia trip this before the school year ended because my son is in the 8th grade, and the kids that I had in my group were like, well, do we call you Officer Morgan? And I was like, I'm not in uniform. You can call me Mrs. Morgan, kind of thing. So I want to make sure they know that, I'm whatever time of day, if I'm off duty or on duty, you could still talk to me.
How important is that you have these kids, these children in these schools being able to be comfortable to come up to you and to talk to you about maybe there's a problem, maybe they got a victory, they got a dub, as the kids say, and they want to share it with you, or hey, something happened, I'm not really sure what it is, can you help me? How important is it building that bridge with children?
Oh, it's a huge responsibility as well, because I don't want to ever make a child feel that I'm not listening to them, because they mean a lot to me.
So any law enforcement officer is under a microscope talking to, law enforcement officers I know and just watching what's going on out there. You put on that uniform and all eyes are on you. I have to think, though, that it goes double because you are protecting the town's children. How do you address that internally as you go to work?
I honestly don't really think about it.
You don't think about it?
I go to work, and if I have to deal with any incident like earlier today, I do my job as best as I can. And if I need assistance, I'll, reach out to my mentors or my higher ups and be like, what do I need to do, or how do I become better,
You're such a part of the community. I've seen you at several different events in the town, at the fall event, or going to see the kids at school. There you are, and Officer Harlow is with you. How does it feel to be more and more integrated into the fabric of what Abington is?
I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Just because I'm not from here, I didn't have the greatest growing up, and the only reason I knew neighbors because we tried to, stay away from the violence and whatnot. But here, it's like I could be at Target. So this is the story. I was at Target off duty, and I looked like I was off duty. I was in sweats. My hair was a mess. Like, I didn't care how I
got
looked.
here.
Well, yeah, I know. But I didn't expect anybody to notice me, and these kids come running up to me like, hi, Officer Morgan, where's Harlow? And I was like, what? How do you know? Like, how? Like, I don't look that
They
great
don't miss
right now.
anything.
Yeah, they don't. And I love that. And I love when the kids will can instantly talk to you. It doesn't really matter if I'm in uniform or not, or if I'm pulling over a car and the driver, I'm talking to the driver, but yet the kids are in the back, like, "Oh, hey, Officer Morgan," I'm like, "Hi, sorry, I'm gonna let you,
So,
get
so
back."
that leads me to my next thing. What is it like talking to the parents of the kids when you run into them?
As like I'm pulling them over, or
Well,
just in
just in
general?
general, but yeah, pulling them over is kind of funny
Yeah,
too.
that's it.
Like we're
It is.
talking, and I'm like thinking, wait a minute, she could pull me over as I'm leaving today.
Yeah, yeah. I honestly I love it, and like being very integrated with the community as my kids are in the schools. Like the Philly trip, my son was there and talking to another mom because she was a chaperone as well. I've been to her house many times only because of car accidents, and she lives in a bad locate. Like her house is not the safe. Like the streets are just not safe, and so even one midnight shift or night shift, I arrived to her house. And as soon as I walk up, she's like, "Hey, Officer Morgan." I'm like, "Hi, I'm sorry, I'm here, but we'll get through it as we usually do." So it's great being able to talk to them like we're kind of like friends, kind of.
So you serve your country in the Marine Corps. You get out and you kind of look around. You come to New England and to a little town called Abington. Well, not so little, but compared to Boston, right? And like me, you get integrated into the fabric of Abington. And now you have your career and you have purpose again. And so many veterans miss that, right? So many of our brothers and sisters miss that. You saw that in Irreverent Warriors. I was just curious, what could you tell one of our brethren, one of our sisters, about finding their purpose after they get out?
It's hard. It's hard to figure out your way after
Yeah.
the military because you're used to being told what to do, where to be, what to wear, who your friends are, kind of. As Marines, we're all one, and it'll take time, but once you realize what you want to do and how you feel about certain things, go after it. And if you want to go to school, use your GI Bill, and eventually it'll happen, but it does take time.
It does take time. I would certainly agree with that. It didn't happen overnight for me, and it took some back and forth bouncing around, but I finally figured out how to, make my way here. A couple lighthearted questions. I was at an event the other night, and they bring up the crayons, Officer Morgan. So what I mean by the crayons is there's this thing with Marines and crayons now, and that was not the way when I was in. And so I'm curious, when you were in was that a thing back then?
Not really.
Like,
I
like,
mean, it a little bit here and there, but it wasn't like everybody jokes around and carries a box of crayons and like, "Here, are you hungry?" Or
like what is that?
I
It
don't,
makes no sense. Okay.
I
I'm
don't
just
know.
making sure because, I don't even, I'm like, guys, that I don't even find that amusing. It's nothing to me. You're a police officer now. You have your sidekick right here. What's next for you in terms of being a police officer or just moving through the ranks? Is it, taking some other kind of training? What's next for
Oh man,
Morgan and Harlow?
I don't think I want to move anywhere higher than I am now. We go through a lot of trainings, actually. We just finished critical incident team training. So Harlo and I are part of the Plymouth County DA's office, Comfort Dog team. We just did the training last 2 weeks. It was a 40-hour course. Prior to that training, we were gone for almost 12 weeks, and Harlow is a explosive ordnance dog as well, so he can smell out bombs, handguns.
No kidding.
Yeah, so we have a lot of training under our belt, and I just want to be back in our day-to-day usual
Serving the
activities.
community.
Yeah, I don't want to keep changing.
So I'll close this out with this. You have a bond with this dog. You have a bond with the community. What's it like going through the train and that bond gets tighter and tighter as you go through being a comfort pair one time and then realizing you might have to go sniff out a bomb somewhere another time? Your relationship with Harlow has to be tight.
Yes. So this morning we did actually the Boston News 25 zip trip in Rockland.
Oh, really?
Yes, the DA was there and he had all the dogs there. And Harlow is almost all the time without a leash because we have that bond. He's at the e-collar just in case he can't hear me, but he'll venture off and then just a few feet and then look back and be like, "Where's mom?" I call him my son because he's a baby. He's a full-time job. I have to wake up at 6:30 with him when he gets up, and he's learned to check if I'm awake before jumping in bed and really waking me up. But we do have a very, very tight bond. It's funny because when we get home, take off all the collars, say all done, and then he's a regular dog, and he wants nothing to do with me. He doesn't care to hang out with me on the couch. He wants to be on his own. He wants to be with the kids. He wants to be with his big brother Charlie. And
there's so much mom he can take.
Yeah, that's enough. He's all set, sir. All set.
Last question. Going back to the aspect of girls and young women looking to find their way in life, and you have the benefit of, one, being from their place, two, serving our country in the Marine Corps, and now being a law enforcement officer. And for boys too, you're trying to find your way. My sons are trying to find their way through life, as a lot of guys do. But for women especially, there's a lot of options out there. What is it about law enforcement that is good for women to join?
Well, I'm gonna say it's difficult because it is a man's world, and just like the military, it's always going to be male dominant. You just have to make sure you're okay with yourself being the only female. You could be the only female at one point, and no one else understand what you are going through, because uniforms don't always fit correctly on females. Like, luckily we have, when you get a vest made, it's tailored to your body. It's tough, and you have to take it in and be okay with it.
No, I remember, I was in a Hawk unit. We weren't in like a frontline combat unit, but they brought out body armor, and like we had the Alice packs, for example, and then they went to the Molly, and the women were like, we can't wear this. It's not meant for us.
Yeah.
And they finally figured out how to, get the load right for women, because it was hurting their backs, for example. It's not easy when the equipment's not right for you.
Yeah. And it's the same thing now. Like, I have everything in the front, it's versus anything on the hips. So I'd rather it be on here. So if I'm at my desk at the middle school or at the station, I could zip this off, have the radio still on, and have that break. But it's a battle sometimes.
Okay, but you're getting victories when you are out in the community. You're getting victories when you talk to kids and their parents, and they understand that the police officers in the town of Abington are there for them.
Yeah,
it has to be.
I love it. I honestly have the greatest job at the department. That's why I don't want to go anywhere higher, anywhere lower. I don't want to stay here and be content with Harlo, see the kids every day. It's a great job.
Well, it's taken a while, but like all good things, it takes a while to come together. I really appreciate you coming out and talking with me so openly and candidly. It means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to all the Abington school kids watching this and their parents. And I just want to thank you on behalf of Abington for doing what you do.
Thank you. It's our home now, so I have to. Like, it's just bred in me now.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, there you have it, folks. Again, an example of someone who, in this case, didn't grow up in Abington, didn't grow up in New England, moves here, does a transition out of the Marine Corps, figures it out, gets into law enforcement, and serves our community. And this is just one example of the amazing veterans that live in Abington and serve our community. I want to thank Officer Morgan and Officer Harlow for coming out and talking with us. And if you see them out in town, tell them hi. And thanks once again for watching the Abington Veterans Muster. As I like to say, as I'm supposed to say, you are dismissed.